They say silence is golden, but when Karen kicked in the door to my lake cabin screaming about unapproved paint colors and garden gnomes, that golden silence shattered like the wine glass I dropped on the hardwood floor. It was supposed to be a peaceful weekend. Just me, the crisp mountain air, and a private meeting with someone who could finally bring change to our small town, the state attorney general. I never expected our lives would collide that day, or that an entitled HOA president would ignite a storm so ridiculous, it would end up being justice in disguise. Let me take you back to the beginning. I inherited the lake cabin from my grandfather, a quiet, sturdy man who built it with his own hands in the 1970s. Nestled between two pine-covered hills and overlooking a serene lake that mirrored the sky, it had always been my sanctuary. After he passed, I restored it to honor him. Fresh wood siding, a few tasteful additions, and yes, a bright navy blue door he always dreamed of but never painted. The problem? That door didn't conform to the regulations of the Oak Ridge HOA. Enter Karen, president of the HOA for the past 6 years. She ruled the neighborhood like a fiefdom. She sent passive-aggressive emails about trash bins being visible for more than 10 minutes. She once fined a veteran $100 for flying his American flag too high. And she especially hated me. Why? Because I refused to play her game. I paid my dues. I followed reasonable guidelines. But I pushed back when she started making up new bylaws out of thin air, like banning solar panels or charging fees for non-conforming holiday decor. Her power trips had driven several elderly residents to tears. One couple sold their house just to get away. So when I heard the state attorney general was quietly reviewing abuse of authority complaints in local HOAs, I reached out. He agreed to meet at my cabin, off the books. It was supposed to be confidential. Just a private citizen and a public official, sitting down to discuss justice. But Karen had other plans. It was mid-morning. The cabin was clean, the coffee fresh, and the AG's car was parked discreetly behind the garage. We sat at the kitchen table, he in jeans and a flannel, as humble as he was sharp. I had just begun showing him the binder of evidence. Forged notices, fabricated fines, and testimonies from terrified neighbors. Then came the bang. At first, I thought it was the wind. But then I heard the unmistakable screech of Karen's voice echoing through the trees. This cabin is in violation of Article 9, Section 2 of the HOA Code. We both stood up. The AG raised an eyebrow. I walked to the door, just in time to see it fly open. She didn't knock. She didn't wait. She barged in, wearing a windbreaker with HOA enforcement printed on the back like she was some kind of federal agent. What is going on here? She shouted, spotting the attorney general standing calmly by the table. I opened my mouth, but before I could say a word, she was already pointing fingers. Who are you? Are you the contractor working on this illegal addition? Because I've already filed a cease and desist. I looked at the AG, ready to explain, but he simply crossed his arms and smiled. I'm actually just visiting, he said. Wanted to learn more about how communities operate at the ground level. And you are? Karen straightened up. Karen Billings, HOA president of Oak Ridge. And this property is in violation. That paint color is not approved, the mailbox is 2 inches too tall, and there's an unlicensed dock on the water. He nodded slowly. I see. And do you normally enforce these regulations by entering private residences without permission? I have authority, sir, she snapped. These people sign agreements. When they move in, he pulled a small leather badge from his pocket and held it up. I'm Michael Grant, State Attorney General. And unless you have a warrant, I suggest you step outside before you add trespassing to your list of infractions. The room fell into a vacuum of silence. Her mouth opened, then closed. Her face drained of color. You're, what, Attorney General, he repeated. And I'd like you to wait outside while I finish hearing the testimony of a resident. Then we'll be discussing your conduct. Karen didn't speak. She slowly backed out the door like she'd seen a ghost, muttering something about checking her schedule. What happened next wasn't just satisfying, it was transformative. The AG stayed for another 2 hours. We walked the property, went over the evidence, and he even asked to speak to a few of my neighbors. The man was thorough, patient, and when he left, he promised, this won't be swept under the rug. Within a month, his office launched a formal investigation into the Oak Ridge HOA. Karen was suspended pending a hearing. The AG introduced legislation tightening oversight on HOAs statewide. And for the first time in years, our neighborhood started breathing again. We held a block party the next spring. No permits, No forms. Just people. Dash dash dash. The real twist. That navy blue door stayed. It became a symbol of standing up when you're told to sit down, of refusing to let petty power undermine real community, of speaking truth, even if your voice shakes. Karen thought she was walking into a cabin to issue a citation. What she really walked into was the beginning of the end, for corruption, for fear, and for the kind of control that masks itself as order. And me, I learned that the most powerful thing you can do isn't yelling, or fighting, or stooping to their level. It's documenting. It's persevering. And sometimes, it's inviting the right person to your table, and letting truth do the talking. So if you're out there, living under the thumb of someone like Karen, don't give up. You never know when justice might come knocking, or when someone might kick in the door just to meet it face to face.